Okay, right here is a 1949 Bay City 65 shovel. This machine was first introduced by Bay City in 1936 as a 1 1/4 cubic yard machine. Right here you can see the Big Dipper bucket on the front of the shovel, and as I said, it's 1 1/4 cubic yard capacity. Now if you look right here on the side of the shovel, you can still see the original metal plate that says Bay City. Right here you can see the large individually linked crawler pads to provide plenty of weight distribution for the shovel if the machine is working on a softer ground surface. Here you can get a good view of the operator's cab. Now take note that the cab itself is very large and also very wide. This is a very unique design because on most of these older, smaller cable shovels and drag lines from this time period, the cabs on them were very small and narrow. However, as you can see on the Model 65 from Bay City, the operator's cab is wider and larger to provide more room for the operator when he be running the machine. Right here you can see where the boom pins to the superstructure. And this chain that you see that runs up the top of the boom connects to the pivot point. This is what extends the dipper handle out or pulls it in. This dipper handle that you see on this machine with the two big bars that run alongside the boom and connect down to the back of the bucket is what's called a rack and pinion dipper handle. This design was used briefly on some of the early Bucyrus Erie shovels, but Merriam was probably more famous in spearheading the rack and pinion dipper handle design on their shovels. The design of this itself is very much different than a tubular dipper handle design because it keeps the bucket very sturdy and prevents the bucket from having any twisting or flexibility when the machine goes to dig into a bank. This is the hoist rope that you see right here. It runs up to the top of the boom, then down to pick the bucket up and down. These ropes that you see leading from the top of the A-frame run all the way out and connect to the top sheaves on the side of the shovel boom, and this is what lowers the boom down or raises it up. Okay, now let's go up inside this machine. Here you can get a good overview of the operator station inside the 65. You can see the operator seat and all the hand levers and controls that will work the functions on this machine when it's running. And on the floor you can see 2 foot pedals. Right here you can see the drum. And right here is what's left of the radiator. As you can see, the engine on this machine has long been removed. This machine could be set up with a Hercules diesel, which would produce 114 horsepower. But Bay City also offered optional Buda, Cummins, Waukesha, or Caterpillar diesel engines to power this machine. And the Model 65 could also be set up as either a diesel-powered shovel or a gasoline-powered shovel, again, depending on what the customer preferred. Now, if you look under here, you can see this machine is chain driven. You can see that where the chain runs around the rear sprocket right here, that chain connects up to the drive sprocket. And when the machine is engaged into the tram mode, this is what turns the crawlers, which in turn will travel the machine. On the back of the shovel on the house, this metal door you see right here would slide open to allow air circulation back by the engine when the machine would be running on a hot summer day. And here on the back of the counterweight, you can see where it says, Bay City. The Model 65 could also be set up as a 20-ton lifting crane, or also in a backhoe configuration with a 21-foot dig depth. and this machine could also be set up in a dragline configuration with a 1 1/4 cubic yard bucket, depending on what the customer preferred. In 1960, Unit Crane and Shovel Corporation purchased Bay City Shovels Incorporated and continued to sell these models under the Bay City name. Then later on in 1966, Bay City became a subsidiary of Manitowoc, which lasted up until 1969 when the Bay City products were discontinued. The Model 65 was built up until 1951 and enjoyed a long, successful production run. But there she is, a 1949 Bay City 65.